Hey y'all, we were out of town all weekend. We went and actually Maya and I officiated his sister's wedding. It was a beautiful ceremony and it was so wonderful to be with our family for the weekend, but nothing is as wonderful as coming home. Our friends took really good care of our farm this weekend, but I got up at about 5:40 this morning and was outside at sunrise because I just missed it so much. Now I'm happily milking goats and I'm excited to take you guys around and show you a little bit of what's going on. Look at this cuteness. Gabe has dug a little bit of a dip underneath the stall that he's been sleeping in. Today I'm going to let him out in the yard with the goats for the first time. All right, let's give Mayhem her babies back. Be happy to see Mama. God, they're so violent. So Gabe is gonna be out with the goats a little bit today. We're gonna watch him. This is his first time to be loose in this yard. Hey little dude. Oh, Bear's like, all the attention is for me. Hey Ben, what's up? Hey Ez, what are you doing? Bear is the best big brother, don't you think?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He like lets Gabe crawl all over him, but then there's like a distinct moment where Bear's had enough and he tells Gabe no. Wanna walk around with me? A lot can change on a farm this time of year in just a few days, so being gone, I came back to my puppy looking bigger and my garden looking more alive. So I've been going around this morning and surveying what I want to do before I leave this weekend for Baker Creek's Spring Planting Festival. One thing I definitely want to get done is I want to get everything out of our original greenhouse. Some of these plants are still going to be going in the ground. These strawberries are going into a bed that we're putting together for them today. A few tomato plants that I still don't have any of those variety planted in the garden. I have a few more space. Some basils here as well as up here. I've got some basils and some herbs. And then the rest of these plants are going to be moved down to the other greenhouse. I just want to consolidate the two greenhouses so I don't have to worry about watering both of them, and this one has a lot less in it, so we're just going to be moving everything out, and basically this will become storage through the summer, because here where it's really hot, greenhouses aren't really much use in the really hot summer months because it's easily 130 or 140 degrees in there some days. So obviously not much is gonna survive and thrive in that. I've also got to move these plants down. These are actually little fig trees that my friend Xavier sent me, and I've got them in some different pots. I've got 6 of them, and these are gonna go down into the other garden where I'm gonna baby them and grow them up some in these pots before I figure out where they're going to go for a permanent place. And here, these are some plants. Benjamin and I stopped by a nursery the other day and found these really beautiful variegated sage plants, which I was pretty pumped to find, as well as just a regular old rosemary and some chives. So these are gonna be going in the garden today as well. My goal today though is not the greenhouse, and it's not the goats. I've just been going through and doing the chores that I had to do to get down to the garden. We're gonna be having thunderstorms on and off for like the next 10 days, which means I am going to get as much done in the garden today because I want to mulch today. So I want to finish putting in a lot of the plants that I have, and then I want to get some mulch down, especially around my tomatoes. Now I mulch with straw. At some point I would like to move to using wood chips, but that's not going to be yet. I'm just going to do straw again this year. The garden is at the wonderful time of year that a few days just completely transforms it. In a lot of good ways, but also in a lot of bads. My weeds got a little carried away this weekend, so mulch is a top priority. You can see here that our tomato plants have really perked up all along both sides. This stir-fry mix of greens running down the center, it got really huge. Now I'm having a little bit of sluggy issues. I noticed several of my greens were suffering, and I found a few slugs on them, when I got back. So I'm gonna be working on some solutions for that this week. I'm kind of having a little bit of a conflict because on one hand, I really need a mulch because I can see that my tomatoes are not responding to the rain, not being mulched. Some of the lower leaves are looking pretty sickly. But mulching is kind of creating the perfect habitat for slugs, and my greens are being eaten on by slugs. So I'm gonna go ahead and mulch. I'm also gonna put in some beer traps for the slugs. Diatomaceous earth is something that you can use to get rid of slugs, but we're gonna be getting a lot of rain over the next 10 days, so that doesn't really work because you have to reapply it after the rain. So one thing that I'm going to be doing a lot of is just hand picking. I don't have too many plants out here that I've got to deal with, so hand picking is probably going to be my best and most effective way of keeping these off my plants. I've got some little radishes over here that are just about ready to harvest. Some of them are quite a lot larger than the other ones. Here are some more radishes that are getting pretty close to being ready to be eaten. Lots of beans here coming up amongst the weeds. I have not yet fully decided what I'm going to put in these beds. Got a few things in here. The trellises are planted. Some squash, but I want to do something really great here on the sides. More seeds have popped up here. That's some squash. Here are some beans, as well as the sunflowers that I planted, which you guys told me that beans and sunflowers do not make good neighbors. And actually I had multiple people share with me that in their experience that was a true statement, and that the beans really suffered being planted near sunflowers. Now, I planted beans next to sunflowers last year and they were fine. So I am actually going to let this bed grow out as an experiment, and we'll see if that is the case with this type of bean. Last year it was noodle beans. I had noodle beans planted next to big sunflowers, and I did not notice either of those being stunted in growth. But these are bush beans that I'm planting next to teddy bear sunflowers, and we'll just see what happens. You know, worst case scenario, those beans don't do well. It's in a small isolated bed, so it's not like a widespread experiment. I thought about moving them, but I thought maybe they were a little more valuable as a learning experience. My thyme overwintered here, and it is looking pretty glorious. I think I might cut it back some and dry some to keep in the house and then let it fill back out. Oh, this is cool. I'm really excited that these are coming up. These are python snake beans. It looks like some of them kind of wash back away from the trellis a little bit. They should be fine. They should be close enough to come up here. That is really exciting. I'm super, super excited about seeing those grow. Here I've got Texas Hill Country okra, as well as bowling red okra. These are beans from last year that reseeded. I could eat those bean sprouts. I'll give them to the chickens because there's only 2 of them. I'm actually thinking that we will do, oh look, I need a baby cucamelon. Oh, it's getting nibbled on by something. So I'm gonna work hard the next couple of days, finishing putting what I have in the garden, and I'm planning on doing my first official garden tour and premiering it next weekend. Last year I didn't start garden tours until June, the first weekend in June, but everyone told me they wished I had started sooner and shared more of the growing process, and we have quite a lot to show at this point. It's small, it's not going to be harvesting yet, but I think we'll be ready to walk you guys through it. I've been looking forward to that literally since we put the garden to sleep last year. I've been so looking forward to doing garden tours again. Hey little chickens, you want some bean sprouts? Oh, he's got to let the ladies know there's a treat. So Ben, the new Ben, not little Ben, came this weekend, and he actually took down the potato boxes. So we've got this nice and open. We're trying to decide what to do here in this space. We're thinking about the possibility of coming up with something else here to do potatoes. We might even do kind of a row of potatoes in the ground. I'm not sure yet. Maya would like to...
I'd like to figure something out.
To figure something out? We're open to ideas. If you think of something else that you think would grow great, kind of along this fence. We've talked about doing loofah.
We could build something to hold more dirt if we needed to.
We could build like another bed right here.
I don't know.
I don't know. What do y'all think? What do you think would be good here? Just for reference, I'm standing over in this corner of the garden. So the greenhouse is there, all of the beds, and there is this fence that runs. So this is about, what is this, about 8 feet wide? No, 6 feet wide. That's about 6 feet wide. And so we're thinking about something that's gonna be maybe like 2 or 3 feet along this fence. And potatoes would be a good thing, but we also may possibly still be doing some stuff in the back. We could do potatoes there. I don't know. This is something we're just kind of throwing ideas around on. Remember how I told y'all that the lemon balm and the mint would take off? There it is. Massive. Actually, my friend Lauren this weekend went to my P.O. box for me because one of our sweet viewers sent me a variegated peppermint, which is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. And so I told Lauren how to do this, and she took a hunk of this other mint out and put that peppermint in. And I actually think I'm going to take like a further section out because I'd like to give this plenty of room to spread. Look at that. That is a lot of mint. Someone asked what we do with so much lemon balm and peppermint, and actually I will cut this back a lot, hang it up to dry for mint tea. That is the main use for the mint, or we'll put the leaves fresh in water in just beverages and stuff that we make. Now the lemon balm I'll dry and make into syrups, just reduce it and add honey. And it's a really good herbal medicinal. Lemon balm is really good for any sort of like anxiety or tension. It's also a remedy for like cold sores, if you get cold sores. So I do make different things out of the lemon balm, but the honey medicine is what we call it, just like boiling it down to a balm. I'll make a video showing how to make honey medicine because a lot of you guys have asked me about that. Y'all look at my lettuces. Aren't they looking very glorious? It's time to start eating on these a lot. I was cooking breakfast this morning and noticing that because we have so few chickens right now in this yard, they're able to have so many bugs and seeds and all of that. Their yolks are so dark orange. We're going to add a few more chickens that are already laying, and then we've actually got broodies sitting on quite a few in the coop right now. But I don't want to add too many. Those yolks are nice.
Plus the eggs are clean now.
Yeah, Jeremiah fixed the nest boxes. I don't think I've showed you guys that. Maya was working on this the other day when we visited him in the vlog. He replaced this glass. He raised these top roosts to be higher than this bar in front of the nesting boxes so that they would stop roosting in the nesting boxes. And he also created this, which I'm not going to lower it right now because there is a hen in there. I don't want to freak her out. At night when we come to close the coop in, we can let this down and it just blocks those off to make sure that they're not going to roost in there. And then I came out here at like 6:20 this morning and opened the coop and opened that up so they could get to the boxes. And actually, here's one lady doing her business, and there's a few eggs in there already. Broody mama is still down there on her nest. Good job, lady. You did it. That's weird, look. I wonder if this is the same hen that did this the other day.
Left the hole on accident?
Well, no, there's a hole and it looks like her body tried to fix it. Like it's like got calcium deposits over a hole. Yeah. This is still warm, so it was definitely her. There was one just like this the other day. Yeah. A couple of other eggs in here, but that's the really warm one. She just laid that. So that's my holy egg hen. I guess I know who's laying those. That's the second one I found like that. It's kind of strange. So I actually haven't told you guys about this. I just mentioned the broodies sitting on nests. We actually don't have two broodies sitting on nests anymore. I forgot. Because I just didn't want to think about it. It's just really cruddy. But we still have mama hen down here. She's sitting on her nest, and her chicks should be hatching here pretty soon. Actually, we'll take a look at those here in a second and see if we can candle them. However, we had the other broody mama, and she had been kind of flaky. She'd gotten up once, and we thought it was really strange. And I'd found a couple of broken eggs, but I didn't really know what was going on or what could have done that. I didn't know if maybe one of the other chickens had come. But Maya came out here the other day, and there was a massive massive king snake. It was like, he was like 4 or 5 feet long, really big around, and he had eaten a very large amount of the other clutch of eggs that a broody hen had been sitting on. Now, I don't hate snakes. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, the only good snake is a dead snake. I think that's silly. I ran across a garden snake in the garden the other day and just moved on. Like, however, that one did a pretty good bit of damage. You know, it would have been rough if he had eaten a lot of regular eggs. But those had been being sat on for over a week, so they were developing. And it's one of those really cruddy farm life things that happen sometimes that you're just like, oh man, that was no good. I just want to look real quick. Hey, don't tickle her, honey. She doesn't want to play. She doesn't like it that I've taken her off her nest. All right, let's take a quick look at these eggs and see if we can see anything. All right, that one is not fertile. However, if you can see, that's not one of the original ones she had because I marked them. I wonder if that snake got a hold of any of these, because several of these are ones that are not marked. Oh, man.
Find any eggs?
Hold on.
Are those the ones with the marks?
Yeah.
Oh,
That does not look like a good egg.
I missed them. Oh yeah, one of them laying eggs. Oh, one of them's laying eggs in it. I didn't know that. Don't do that, Ben. Yeah, look, this one wakes me. That's a broody.
All right, I put her back on these eggs, but I have bad news. I'm gonna come back out here and check tonight when it's darker and I can see a little bit more. But several of the original marked eggs, because I had marked like 15 eggs when she first started sitting on that clutch, several of those are gone. Quite a few of the eggs she's sitting on right now are not ones that I marked. They're ones that she just recently started sitting on. But a lot of those eggs are unfertile. And a few of them, I couldn't quite tell if they were actually developing. I didn't see veins in any of them. Some of them may just be rotten. Now I see this guy breeding these hens, but I'm wondering if somehow could he be sterile? I don't know. All right, she's been sitting on that nest for 2 weeks. When I picked her up, she's definitely lost weight. Like, it's rough on broodies whenever they sit on a nest. They put a lot into it. Like, they don't eat like they're supposed to. Really dedicated moms like that, it can be bad for them to stay on them too long. I really don't know if any of those eggs are gonna hatch. I might have to get some chicks to put underneath her. Man, there goes my plan. That's how I was gonna grow my flock, is just letting these mamas hatch their babies out. Not a great day for our chicken flock. We need something cute to look at after that bummer chicken news. And these guys are about as cute as it gets. Hey. Oh, goodness. Well, that's no good. You're about to move outside. You're a little silly. You're not supposed to be able to do that. This little girl and little boy are ready for their next bottle. Let's go ahead and get that for them. So I shared recently in a video that we have decided to take a little bit of a different direction with our goat herd. I'm gonna show y'all something. Look at my kids down here. They were over there picking lemon balm and mint and smelling it. They're so funny. Ezra and Ben both just love the garden. Maya is actually building the gate and refreshing the soil in their garden here in the next day or two, and we're gonna plant their garden. So that video will be coming up. I love how much they like hanging out down there though. They spend a good bit of time down there, especially when there's stuff to pick and eat, but right now they've been just playing around. So goat talk. Like I said, we are going to go in a little bit of a different direction with our herd. Basically, I would really like to eventually focus more on growing some good La Mancha lines. Now, those are the goats that don't have ears. I have 2 of those, which I got from my cousin Amy, and I really enjoy their milk. I think we'll still probably get a few more Nigerian dwarfs and kind of play around with those, and we will still keep our favorite Nubians. I'm looking kind of like on the 5-year plan. That's how I like to plan my homestead. I've told y'all that before. Doing 1-year plans is so stressful because it adds so much pressure on what you feel like you need to get done. But if you have a 5-year plan, like a general idea of where you want to be in 5 years, it kind of makes the 1-year decisions a little bit easier, because it's like, okay, what do I need to do now to stay on the right track to be where I want to be in 5 years? And it just alleviates a lot of the pressure. We actually just celebrated living in this house for 5 years the day before yesterday. So we are now seeing the fruition of our first 5-year plan. And actually, pretty much everything that's going on here now really surpasses what we hoped it would be in 5 years. And so now we're kind of dreaming up that next 5-year goal on where we want to be on our farm as a family, what we want to be doing. And I've decided that I really want to go along the lines of going more towards La Manchas. I am going to keep one of my doelings from this year, Ruth, Nestle's baby. That was the first one of the year. And Suki and her baby went to the Vincent's VW Family Farm. And some of our other YouTube friends are coming to get these 2 bottle babies. It's a doeling and a buckling. I'm milking their mom. She's a really good milker. She's a terrible mom, obviously, but she is a good milker, and we're still milking a few goats. And right now, I'm not looking at getting any more goats. I guess if we came across just like exactly what we were looking for, we might change that plan a little bit. But right now, we're mostly just looking at downsizing our goat herd and just going on a little bit of a pause. Because we are focusing on getting all of our fencing done, getting ready for our new animal. And last night we talked on the live about what that new animal was going to be. Now, we didn't tell you, and we really didn't give very many hints, but we did answer the question, when is it coming? And the answer is we don't know exactly. We have to get some things in line. We have to get the housing in line, and we have to get our fencing done. We do have the materials, but it's just gonna take the time. And obviously we've got a lot going on. We're hoping to get the new animal in May. That is our hope. It's gonna require some help. It's not gonna be just us going to get them. And we've got a long drive, so logistics. We're working on logistics. Up until this point, we have been keeping these little babies in the house, in this big tub. They're not old enough to really smell, and this is a lot easier when they're needing to be fed pretty much around the clock. Now, they're getting big enough now that, and obviously they're jumping out of the tub, so it's time for them to go ahead and move out. And we'll just keep them in a stall for the rest of this week while they're with us, and they'll be going to their new home this weekend. I mean, seriously, can you even with these little airplane ears? Oh yes, thank you for those kisses. You're so cute. This is the boy. He's solid white. And then the little girl, I think her ears may be more airplane-y even, if that's possible. And she's got these big eyes, and she's kind of like a cream color. It's hard to see in here, but they are pretty babies. Well, I think that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm looking forward to sharing everything that we have coming up with you guys. Like I said, the garden tours, I've been looking forward to doing those again since we stopped them last year. And so there are gonna be a lot of great videos coming up, including me figuring out what I'm gonna do with that birdie hen. Thank you guys. I bless you. Until next time.